Do you think you know your own body? The human body is where many of the most fascinating scientific discoveries across all disciplines are being made.
Appendix to life. The appendix has a poor reputation. It is typically regarded as a physical part that no longer serves any purpose. It only ever seems to occasionally become infected and result in appendicitis. However, it has recently been found that the appendix is extremely beneficial to the microorganisms that keep your digestive system running smoothly. They use it as a place to reproduce and replenish the gut's bacterial population while taking a break from the strain of the organ's frenetic activity. So be respectful of your appendix. Complex molecules. Almost everything we encounter is composed of molecules. These come in a range of sizes, from straightforward atomic pairs, like an oxygen molecule, to intricate organic structures. The largest molecule in nature, however, is found in your body. First, chromosome. A typical human cell contains 23 pairs of chromosomes, each of which is a single, extremely long DNA molecule. With over 10 billion atoms, chromosome 1 is the largest and contains the most of the information stored in the molecule. Atom count. Until you see how many atoms there are in your body, it is difficult to appreciate how little they are. Around 7 octillion atoms make up one adult. Fur loss. We have almost the same number of hairs on our body as chimpanzees, despite the fact that they are useless and so fine that they are essentially invisible. We don't exactly know what caused us to lose our protecting fur. It has been hypothesized that this may have occurred because our predecessors were somewhat aquatic, to assist early humans sweat more easily, or to make life more difficult for parasites like lice and ticks. Evolution of Goosebump. Goosebumps are a legacy of our extinct ancestors. They develop as a result of the base of each hair's small muscles tensing and drawing it more upright. This would fluff out the coat, allowing more air to enter it and improving its insulating properties with a good coating of fur. However, a human's sparse body hair only makes our skin appear odd. Similar to how when we are terrified or recall an emotional event, our hair stands on edge and feels bristly. When threatened, many mammals puff up their fur to appear larger and therefore more menacing. Similar defensive fluffing up of body hair was originally present in humans, but the effect has since been destroyed. Trauma in space. If science fiction movies were to be believed, if your body were pushed off a spaceship without a suit, awful things would happen. But most of it is made up. Although there wouldn't be anything like the exploding body parts Hollywood adores, there might be some discomfort as the air inside the body expanded. Even while liquids do boil in a vacuum, your blood would be alright since your circulatory system maintains pressure. Furthermore, despite the extreme cold in space, you wouldn't lose heat very quickly. A vacuum is a fantastic insulator, as thermos flasks show. In actuality, the absence of air in space is what will kill you. A test subject's suit leaked in a NASA vacuum chamber in 1965. The victim, who lived, was awake for roughly 14 seconds. Although the actual survival time limit is unknown, it is most likely between 1 and 2 minutes. Atomic collapse. Despite having a large number of atoms, your body would compress into a very small volume if it weren't for the fact that the majority of them are empty space. The size of a fly in a cathedral can be used to compare the size of an atom's nucleus, which makes up the great majority of its stuff. Your body would fit into a cube with less than 1/500th of a centimeter on each side if you lost all of your empty atomic space. Matter that has undergone precisely this kind of compression is what makes up neutron stars. There are approximately 100 million tons of matter in a cubic centimeter of neutron star material. A neutron star completely fills a sphere around the size of the Isle of Wight and is heavier than our Sun. Electromagnetically repelled. Never do the atoms that make up matter come into contact. The electrical charges on their individual pieces repel one another more strongly the closer they get. It's comparable to attempting to align the north poles of two incredibly potent magnets. This holds true even when it appears that two items are touching. You don't touch a chair when you sit on it. You are suspended by the attraction between atoms a short distance above. This electromagnetic force is almost a billion times more powerful than the force of gravity. By holding a fridge magnet close to a refrigerator and then letting go, you may show the relative strength. The tiny magnet's electromagnetic force is stronger than the entire Earth's gravitational pull. From stardust to stardust. Your body's atoms are billions of years old. The most prevalent element in the universe and a crucial component of your body, hydrogen, was created in the Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago. Between 7 and 12 billion years ago, heavier atoms like carbon and oxygen were created in stars and launched into space as the stars exploded. A few of these explosions were so potent that they also created elements heavier than iron, which stars cannot make. This means that because you are made of stardust, the parts of your body are actually very old. The quantum body. How something as seemingly simple and substantial as your body can be composed of atoms and other quantum particles with peculiar behaviors is one of science's greatest mysteries. When asked to sketch an image of one of their body's atoms, the majority of people would create something resembling a small solar system, with the nucleus serving as the sun and the electrons whirling around as planets. Although this was an early representation of the atom, it was realized that such atoms would instantly collapse. The reason for this is because electrons have an electrical charge, they would spiral into the nucleus if an electron were to be accelerated, which is required to keep it in orbit. In fact, electrons appear to run on rails because they are constrained to certain orbits. They must make a quantum leap from one orbit to the next since they cannot exist anywhere in between. A better illustration would be to depict the electrons as a collection of fuzzy shells surrounding the nucleus because, being quantum particles, they exist as a collection of probabilities rather than at precise places. Red-blooded. You might suppose that blood on your finger that is bleeding is red because of the iron in it because rust has a crimson tint. However, the iron's presence is merely a coincidence. The iron in hemoglobin is bound in an atomic ring structure called porphyrin, and it is this structure's shape that gives the color red. Whether or not oxygen is attached to your hemoglobin determines how red it is. The porphyrin takes on a different form when oxygen is present, giving the red blood cells a more brilliant hue. Going viral. Surprisingly, part of the valuable DNA in your chromosomes was borrowed from other species and does not entirely come from your evolutionary predecessors. At least 8 retroviruses have genes that are present in your DNA. These are a specific type of virus that use a cell's DNA coding systems to take over a cell. These genes entered human DNA at some point in the course of evolution. Although these viral genes in DNA currently play crucial roles in human reproduction, they are completely foreign to our genetic background. Other life. There are more bacteria inside of you than there are human beings based only on cell count. Your own cells number about 10 trillion, but bacteria are 10 times more numerous. In the sense that they don't cause any harm, many of the bacteria that live inside of you are friendly. Some are advantageous. An American engineer looked at whether animals might survive without germs in the 1920s with the idea that a world without microbes would be better. James Art Raniers dedicated his life to creating settings that allowed animals to be nurtured without exposure to microorganisms. The outcome was evident. There was a chance. However, a large number of Ranier's animals perished, and those that did not had to be fed with special diet. This is due to the fact that digestion is aided by gut flora. You could live without bacteria, but you would need to eat food that is higher in nutrients than a regular diet since you wouldn't have the enzymes that bacteria make in your gut to help you. Eyelash invaders. It is quite likely that you have eyelash mites, depending on your age. These tiny organisms feed on dead skin cells and sebum, a natural oil secreted by human hair follicles, to survive. Although a small percentage of people may experience an allergic reaction, they are typically safe. Eyelash mites are usually 1/3 of a millimeter long and nearly translucent, so it is doubtful that you will be able to notice them with the unaided eye. Though they spend the most of their time directly at the base of the hair where it touches the skin, if you look closely at an eyelash or a brow hair under a microscope, you might find them. They are present in about 50% of people, a number that increases with age. Photon detectors. Just a few photons of light can be detected by your eyes because of their high sensitivity. On an extremely clear night, A small fuzzy patch of light is just visible with the naked eye in the Andromeda constellation. You are seeing as far as is humanly possible without the aid of technology if you can make out that small blob. The nearest big galaxy to our own Milky Way is Andromeda. The Andromeda galaxy is 2.5 million light-years away, therefore, near has a different meaning in cosmic space. There were no people around when the photons of light that reached your eye started their trip. We hadn't yet developed. You are viewing a nearly unfathomable distance and traveling back in time 2.5 million years. Presented by AWZ. Don't forget to subscribe our channel.